Welcome to Darkicho, the place where shadows whisper and the unknown comes alive. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join our community of night dwellers who live for the eerie, the chilling, and the stories that follow you long after the lights go out. Let's dive into today's story title, which is He Checked the Security Camera and Saw Himself Standing Outside. Let's begin. Mark had never been the kind of man to believe in the supernatural. Ghost stories, urban legends, doppelganger myths to him, they were just campfire tales told to frighten children. What he did believe in, however, was safety. Living alone on the edge of town, where streetlights were few and neighbors scarce, Mark relied heavily on his security system. The cameras gave him peace of mind, a sense of control. Every night before bed, he would glance at the feeds on his phone, front door, driveway, backyard. Seeing nothing but still, empty images allowed him to drift to sleep without worry. It became a ritual, almost comforting, like checking the locks or turning off the stove. But comfort has a way of betraying you, because one night the cameras showed him something he could never explain, something that would twist his nights into terror. At first it was small, a flicker, a glitch, the kind of thing you could ignore if you wanted to, but soon those flickers began to form a shape. That shape became a figure. And then, one horrifying detail at a time, that figure revealed itself. It was him. The first night seemed harmless, almost too harmless. Mark woke around 2:30 a.m. to the faint buzz of his phone. His eyes stung with sleep, but out of habit, he rolled over and unlocked the screen. Motion detected front door camera. At first, he smirked tiredly, a cat maybe, or the neighbor's kid sneaking around. He tapped the feed, expecting to see nothing. And at first, that's exactly what it showed, nothing. The porch sat in perfect stillness, the air unmoving, the wind chime frozen in place. Even the shadows seemed locked. But the stillness itself unnerved him. It was too still, the kind of quiet where you know something is off but can't see what. Then the feed crackled, just a twitch of static across the screen. Mark sat up, his drowsiness gone. He leaned closer. Had something just moved across the frame? He replayed the alert, scrubbing backward, forward, nothing. Just an empty porch. Still, the sense of the being watched clawed at him. He left the phone glowing on the nightstand and lay back down, but sleep wouldn't come easy. Every creak of the house made him twitch. Every shift of shadow in the corner of his eye made him glance at the phone again. Let me ask you this. If your security camera woke you in the dead of night but showed nothing, would you shrug it off, or would you stay awake staring at the feed until morning? The second night erased any excuse. At exactly 2:30 a.m., his phone buzzed again. This time his hands were clammy as he tapped the feed. His stomach sank. There was someone on the porch. A tall, broad-shouldered figure stood perfectly still, angled toward the camera, its face obscured by shadow. Mark's mouth went dry. He grabbed the baseball bat leaning by his bed and crept toward the window. His heart pounded so loud he was sure whoever was out there would hear it. He peeled back the curtain slowly. The porch was empty. He spun back to the phone. The figure remained, motionless, staring straight into the lens. Mark's mind raced. Was it a hacked feed? Some kind of overlay? His breathing quickened. He rushed downstairs, flung open the front door, and stepped onto the porch. Nothing. He stood under the porch light, bat in hand, scanning the yard. Silence. The only sound was the faint hum of the street lamp far down the road. When he climbed back upstairs, he grabbed his phone with shaking fingers. The feed showed only emptiness. The figure had vanished. He barely slept, lying awake, his eyes darting between the door and the glowing screen. The third night, Mark's world was shrinking. His life was becoming the glow of his phone screen. He couldn't stop checking it. At 2:33 a.m., the feed stuttered. Static rippled across it. His heart stopped. The figure was back. It hadn't moved an inch. Same posture, same eerie stillness. But the porch light caught more of its face this time. Mark leaned in, his breath fogging the screen. The jawline, the scar above the eyebrow, the tilt of the nose. It was his face. Not similar, not close, identical. His knees buckled, and he dropped the phone onto the sheets. For a long moment, he sat frozen, unable to breathe, but the silence pressed harder, demanding he look again. With trembling hands, he picked the phone back up. The figure stared at him, and then slowly, deliberately, it tilted its head upward and smiled. The grin wasn't right. It was his face, but stretched too far, too wide. Mark whispered aloud, voice cracking, "That's not me." But the smile staring back at him said otherwise. The fourth night. By now, paranoia was Mark's only companion. He kept the lights on, double-checked the locks 3 times, shoved a chair under the doorknob, but deep down he knew none of it mattered. At 2:30, the alert came. His stomach dropped as he opened the feed. The figure was no longer on the porch. It was in the driveway. The image was sharper now. The grain of the camera couldn't disguise it anymore. It was him, exactly him. Same scar, same tired eyes, same crooked half-smile. The figure raised its hand, slowly, deliberately, and waved. Mark stumbled back, nearly tripping over the chair. He clutched the bat like a lifeline. His phone slipped to the floor. When he picked it back up, his double had moved again, back on the porch, closer than before, and smiling wider than his face should be able to. Let me ask you this. What would you do if your security camera showed you standing outside your own house? Would you confront it, or would you hide, hoping it never makes its way inside? The fifth night. Mark looked hollow, his skin pale, his eyes bloodshot from sleeplessness. He no longer pretended this was anything but real. He sat in bed with the feeds open, waiting for it. When 2:30 came, he didn't even flinch at the buzz. He opened the feed and froze. 2 of them. One on the porch, one in the driveway, both identical, both him, both smiling. Mark's breathing grew ragged. He switched to the backyard camera. His stomach dropped. Another one standing in the shadows among the trees, watching. His phone buzzed again. Motion detected side door. He tapped it and nearly dropped the phone. Another. 4 marks now, surrounding the house. Mark staggered to the window, yanking back the curtain, empty, silent. But on the phone they remained, encircling his home, smiling as if they already knew he couldn't escape. His scream cracked in the empty air, swallowed by silence. The final night. Mark had lost everything: sleep, sanity, hope. He barricaded the doors with furniture, stacked chairs against the windows, and sat in the center of the room with the bat across his knees. His phone glowed in his trembling hands, the feeds already open. At exactly 2:30 a.m., the screens erupted with static. When they cleared, his heart nearly gave out. Dozens of marks. On every camera, every angle, surrounding the house like a ritual circle. Some stood perfectly still, others twitched unnaturally, heads jerking at sharp angles. All of them smiled. The doorbell rang. Mark froze. The sound thundered in the silence. Again, louder, again, faster. Then silence. He forced himself to glance back at the feed. Now only one figure remained, standing on the porch, looking directly into the lens. It lifted its hand. Knock, knock, knock. Mark's phone buzzed violently. A new notification flashed. Motion detected inside living room. His chest seized. Slowly, his head turned toward the dark hallway. And from the shadows, his own voice whispered, "You left the door unlocked." So let me leave you with this. If your security camera showed you standing outside your own house, would you dare confront it, or would you hide and pray it never makes its way inside? This is Dark Echo, reminding you to check behind you before the lights go out.